Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyra here with a Dragon Champions video. Your boy actually got a partnership with them. If you're interested in playing the game, support the channel by downloading the game. Going over here, you can also get free rewards in game if you use this promo code. Type in Kyra Mobile, and then you'll get the in-game premium currency, get some energy and stuff like that, get some gear for free onto your account by just using that promotional code. Before I get into the video, I do want to say it's like, these kind of shard collectors, yes, I'm mainly a Raid Shadow Legends content creator at the moment, but the main mobile games that I've really played were Star Wars Galaxy Heroes and Marvel Strike Force. I played those games for a very long time. They're virtually identical to Dragon Champions in the sense that they're the fragment hero collectors. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to these games. This game is kind of they took aspects of Marvel Strike Force. I would say this is more of a copy of Marvel Strike Force than Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, but they're very similar. And why I bring that up is because I definitely have, since I have so much experience playing these style games, I think it's going to be really easy for me to pick this game up and I can break it down. With the experience I had in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, I'll be able to break this game down very easily just because I'm just so used to these style of games. Most of these are pretty much just reskins. There's a couple little unique features here and there I might cover in different videos that I think are pretty cool that are a little different. Figured out at least say it's not like I'm just picking this game up and not like brand new to these kind of fragment style games when I've been playing Raid this whole time. I've had a couple years worth of experience in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and then I played probably about 6 months of Marvel Strike Force until the whole Red Star thing happened. Then I quit because I just thought it was ridiculous. This video is going to be best characters to start farms and when you're first starting out. These kind of games are pretty overwhelming. In my opinion, when you're first starting out, you have all these characters, don't know what to do, which ones to farm, who's actually important. The big thing about them is they're shard based in the sense that once you make your account, your arena where a lot of your big rewards are shard based. For example, all the people I matched up with made the account at the same time. So it's like all your decisions really matter because if you get behind, then you're always going to be behind these guys. So it's really important to use research to figure out the smart choice so you don't get too behind on your arena. Those initial farms, I think, are some of the most important times in the game. And that's why I want to make a video on it. I want to cover 5 to 6 characters of each faction. So if we go here, the Dawn of Order, which only takes order characters, you got Rage of Clans that only takes clans. And then these two here, this Demon Invasion is way harder, but you could use both sides. So you could use your best characters from your clans, best characters from your order. And then Runic Journey is, if you played Star Wars, it's like farming mods. So you farm mods in here, but you can only go up to 2-star and they're not mods, they're runes in this game. So it's like that's how you could farm them, and then you could buy them, the 4-dot or 3-dot ones from the shop here. Now that we kind of got an idea of how the structure of the game goes, I want to cover the characters that I think are the best in each faction. So the best in order, in my opinion, especially in the beginning, because there's going to be characters that are good, but you won't be able to farm them for a very long time. I think the ones that are relatively accessible early, so Freezard, he's probably going to be one of your best early game characters to get. I think he's a really good damage dealer, just hits hard, very accessible early game. I believe they have a deal if you're willing to spend money on the game. They actually have a super good deal on him. He's one of the better characters in the game, and so I would say it's worth it if you're looking at if money is on the table. Then definitely a good value. He has he has like a cone style AoE here, hits 3 enemies, and then he also has a full AoE here that does a lot of damage. The cool thing about him is that he's not only doing damage, he's also providing utility. Like his A1 has a slow on it, his A2 has armor decrease, which is massive. And then he also has his passive here, which allows him, if he dies 1 time per battle, he can res, which is pretty cool. And then he gives it to Snorri, which is also a good character in the mid to early game. What I've been liking this, I want to say Selena is a relatively new character, and how it worked is there was a deal where it's like as you spend resources, you just get shards of her. As you log in, you get shards of her. I believe that if it ended, but her and Freezard had a very similar deal, so she was like really accessible, and so I was able to get her. Farming her though, if you're free to play, is 5-9 of clans, so I would say this is like relatively mid game. I wanted to bring her up because I have her and I have her 7-star, and I think that's an unusual thing to have at this phase of the game. You're probably gonna have to rely on different characters for the order faction. I wouldn't recommend farming her. She's a good character. Getting to her is going to take a while. Patriarch Chi, he's another a fantastic order character. He's pretty far into the game. It's going to take a bit to get to Order 7-3 and then Demon Invasion 3-3. Those are pretty tough nodes. It's going to be a bit to start farming this guy. So next person on the list, so we had Freezard. He's going to be one of your best characters, if not your best character when you start the game. You're going to probably use him for a very long time. Your best character for the order side. Probably your best character overall is going to be Tromgar. But we'll get into the clan side here in a second. Okay, so we got Kinley. Kinley is going to be a good tank that you're going to want to get because when you start the game, you're going to have this guy here. You're going to have Darian. So you have Darian. He's just kind of a boring tank, no synergies, doesn't really have that great of a kit. Kinley is a order tank that you could get like relatively early, 4-3 on Dawn of Order, 4-12 on clans. He's also in the guild store. He's just significantly better than Darian. He tankier, good stats, and then he has a really good passive for pandas, where I believe this is the best leadership ability for the panda faction. Where as you level up, it definitely doesn't look great early. Just a kind of a quick tip is I like to, whenever you look at an ability, always get to the end there. Like just take it and then go to the end so you really get an idea of what it is. Because a lot of times the abilities, they'll be like, oh, that's not that good. Like here's an example of one where it's garbage all the way up until the very end. Like, so this passive is just 5 damage, 10 damage, 20 damage. But if you go to the end, then it goes an additional 5% for each living panda. So that literally changes the entire move. Like my opinion of this move is it was garbage. Then I saw that, then it's actually good. So just keep that in mind when evaluating moves because they're big investments. You're going to take them for a long time. So if just because it might not be good now, evaluate it for later into the game. Like that's what I like to do. So for example, around here, level 4 is when it gets good because up until here at level 3, all allied pandas gain 20% of their max H health. So that's lame. When you get further on, it's all allied pandas gain 30% of their max health. Pandas recover 5% health for each critical hit dealt and each buff applied. You're going to be getting a ton of health. It's awesome. So a very, very cool ability there. And then he has a passive where he gains health every turn. So that's fantastic on a tank. And then he can taunt on the first turn and then give himself dodge increase. So he's taunting, dodge increase, heals himself, also removes 2 debuffs. So just a very good kit when it comes to tank. This is exactly what you would want in a tank there. Great character, I think. For order, we got Freezard, we got Kinley. You're not going to start with him, but that's going to be someone you're really going to want to shoot for early and like try to replace this Darian guy. And then third on the list is going to be Sonori here. Very solid mid-game damage dealer for the order faction. Pretty cool kit. Looks kind of like a Viking, and his kit matches that. So probably the signature move is going to be Berserk Stance here, which is Sonori assumes a Berserk Stance and gains 50% of its turn meter, removes 2 debuffs. While in a Berserk Stance, Sonori gains 15% crit chance and 30 speed. This effect cannot be prevented or removed. Using this ability again will cancel the Berserk Stance. So then that's going to be the main thing you do here. And then you're going to combine it with this AoE where you're going to damage all enemies and then get bleeding for 2 turns. So it's a really great way to do a ton of damage. He has synergy, like I was saying earlier, with Freezard. Sonori gains 30% magic armor and 30% tenacity when not in a Berserk Stance. If Freezard is on the battlefield, he receives the same buff, making Freezard more tanky. And then Freezard gives him his passive, which is Freezard survives a fatal blow and recovers 25% health. Any effects active on him are removed. Can be triggered once per battle. If Sonori is on the battlefield, he also receives the same buff. Great synergy for 2 early to mid-game characters as your 2 damage dealers. Patriarch Chi, I think he's amazing. Absolutely, once you can get to him, definitely farm him. He is a little further down, so I still want to put him on the list. I still think he deserves to be on the list. You need to get to like Dawn of Order 7-3 or Demon Invasion 3-3. This is going to take a bit. This is also going to take a bit. Once you can get to him, he's definitely very good. What makes him so good is he has a pretty solid plug and play leadership ability here, whereas all ally healing abilities can apply a shield equal to 40% of the heal. All attacks on all allies from order restore their shield by 16% of the damage dealt. It just gets better with more abilities in there. He has a really cool A2 where he provides a massive 700% of Patriarch Chi's magic damage, removes 2 debuffs from an ally, so really good support there. Also gives his entire team increased armor, which is cool. And then he has this passive that's also good, which is when applying a shield, Patriarch Chi has a 40% chance to heal an ally by 30% of the shield. So just overall, really good kit. And then I think Lassie has also a good A1 too. Deals 220% magic damage to an enemy, and then a 50% chance for Kin Lee, like the tank, and a random ally to gain a shield equal to 50% of the damage dealt. So overall, exactly what you would want out of a support character. And then the cool thing too is that pandas, are their own faction. All this stuff is good with other characters. You're not pigeonholed into only using pandas. Like for example, Kin Lee here, his passive or his leadership ability is panda focused, whereas Patriarch Chi is very just, oh, you're a healer. And so having that, especially in the early game where you just have plug and play, because you're going to go niche down harder in factions later on in the game. But when it comes to, early game, you just want good, solid characters, and both of those are going to fit the bill there. It's just he's going to take a bit to get there. Then lastly, when it comes to an order character for the list, I think if you're able to take advantage of the Selena had a event that happened a few days ago. I think the fantastic event to take advantage of, which is you as you spend energy, as you spend their premium currency, as you log in, you get shards of her, and she's a really good healer, especially to just start out. Like if you're stuck with a pretty suboptimal healer in Alluria here, if you were like when you first start out the game, and you're gonna want to replace her eventually. Whereas I think Selena is just a significantly better version. She also has a pretty cool passive here, which is copies 2 random buffs from an enemy at the end of each turn and applies them to random allies for the same duration. Like that's cool. She has a massive heal, massive AoE heal, heals all allies by 400% of Selena's magic damage. If allies are affected by debuffs, applies 2 random opposite buffs for the same duration. Like that's fantastic. And then he just a really big individual heal there. And then lastly, has a 70% chance to inflict a tenacity decrease, which is, not crazy, but it at least makes you, more susceptible to debuffs. I think those are some really good characters for the Order faction that are worth looking out for. There's definitely not a comprehensive list, but some very solid ones. Some good ones that are going to take a while to get, but are also very good, is going to be Little Baddie here. I think she's just, I haven't tried her out yet, but I think her kit, I think she probably is one of the best, if not the best, tanks that you can get for the Order side. Her kit's just really cool. She has this passive here where it's Little Baddie survives a fatal blow and protects herself with a shield equal to 30% of her maximum health. Any effects active on her are removed can trigger once per battle. So very similar effect to Freezard, which it actually comes up pretty clutch. Has this deals 190% of physical damage to all enemies and a 30% chance to inflict blindness. Blindness is a very good debuff. Then so you're not only getting a tank, but you're getting someone that can provide utility to make an indirect way for even more survivability for your team. And then has this move here, which is deals 260% of the physical damage to an enemy, also attacks 2 random enemies and deals 130% of the physical damage. Dealing damage with this ability removes 1 buff. Little Baddie gains taunt for 2 turns. So it's cool. It has a dispel taunt. It's a very unique way of providing a taunt. Usually games don't do that. And then we got deals 180% of the physical damage to an enemy and 80% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. So very high odds of just reducing a quarter of their turn meter on an auto attack for a tank. Like that's really cool. And then there's other synergies with other characters that can give her retribution. So then she's getting attacked, she's counterattacking, removing people's turn meter and stuff like that because they're forced to attack her. So I think she's super good. But she's someone that you're going to slowly get through events. Like there'll be events throughout the day where like spend energy or upgrade characters, and then you'll get shards of her. I'll eventually unlock her here soon, but it's going to be a bit. She's pretty gated in that sense, but kind of a bummer because she's so good. It's just a bummer that she's gated like that. Okay, so that's going to be the Order side. So we got 5 to 6 characters on the Order side, and then for early game clan side, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's literally just orcs. It's just orcs. So out of the characters, the orcs. So Zera's new. Zera's new. She was in the battle pass. You could at this point you can only get her to 5-star 35 shards into 5-star because she's not farmable yet. reason why I bring that up is because why you want orcs is because they are required for the legendary event for Soleus, who's arguably the best character in the game. Maybe not anymore because of more Doom. He's a brand new legendary that just came out, but Soleus has been like the staple legendary in the game. Amazing healer that the orcs unlock. You need to have how these games work. If you're not familiar with them, is you get characters. Like let's say there's a legendary event coming. They need 5 orcs, and so you're going to need 5 orcs, all 7 stars, and then probably pretty good. So you get like some of them. They'll do unlocks at like 5 stars. So you have like a 5-star unlock, and if you have them all 5-star, you can at least get the character. And then if you have them all 6-star, then you can try to go for a 6-star version of Soleus. And then if you have them all 7-star, you could try to go for the 7-star version of Soleus. That's one way of doing a legendary event. See how he unlocks at 145 shards. Whereas with more Doom, he only locks at 330 shards, which is the exact amount for a 7-star character. So you have to have the requirements for this event all at 7 stars. And in this case, it's all humans. You need humans. So luckily humans are a very good faction, so you're not going to feel bad doing that. You know, like that's the difference between these two style of events. I just want to bring that up. So Soleus, amazing character in the game. Orcs are also very good. They're not like, you know, like, and with Tromgar here being actually incredible, like, you know, he's just used just as much, if not, I would say just as much as Soleus. He's like that popular, that good. So the game literally starts you out with one of the SS tier characters. So how you unlock shards of him is through, you know, leveling up and stuff like that. You're going to be getting achievements, and he's in a lot of achievements. So you're going to get a ton of shards of him just straight up, but his actual node is like super deep into the game. Like, so it takes a while to I don't even think I'm at his node yet. Let me find him. He had Demon Invasion 4-9, so super hard. And then Rage of Clans 7-9, which is pretty hard. Once you get there, having 2 nodes like that's pretty nice, but that's like deep into the game. You're probably going to be like level 60 by the time you get there, is my estimate. Probably like 55, 60. You'll have a pretty good, like well-leveled, well-startup version of Tromgar by the time you get there. What makes him so good is not only is he a tank with good base stats, but he has a stun on basic. So stun on basic. So like I was saying with Little Baddie, how she has a basic as a tank, and then she can like counterattack. He has counterattack built into his taunt. So not only does he taunt, but then he gives himself counterattack, and he has the you know, and he can taunt on the first turn. So people attack. He's forcing the enemy to attack him, and every time he retaliates, he has a very good potential of stunning them, which is just bonkers. It's just such a good way of being, you know, like such a good kit. It's just a stupidly good kit. You're definitely going to want to take advantage of that and level them up completely from the start of the game. And then to top it off, he just has other solid moves. His A3 here is gains 2 stacks of regeneration for 2 turns, removes all debuffs, and then Tromgar recovers 10% health. So very solid A3 to help him survive. And then he just has like stat boosts on his passive here, depending on what stance he's in. If he's in defensive stance, he has more armor. If he's in offensive stance, he has more physical damage. And then lastly, he has a pretty like lame, yeah, like an okay leadership ability. I think there's another orc that has a better one, but here's his leadership ability, which is both potency and tenacity of all allied orcs increased by 30%. For each debuff on an allied orc inflicts on an enemy, all orcs recover 5% of their health. So solid, definitely solid leadership there. But I think for the most part, you're going to be wanting to use this leadership. So Rantha's next. So let me actually back up here. The orcs that I would recommend investing in to not only help you in the early game, but to also get you ready for Soleus are going to be the farmable ones. Because Zira is awesome. She's a very good character, but we don't know how hard her node's going to be. So if you got the battle pass and you actually have her at 5 stars, maybe her node comes out, it's on a very hard node that you can't get to, or only one node, takes forever to farm her. So you're not going to get her 6 or 7 star in time for the event. I would recommend sticking with the classic orc characters, even though they're not as good, because you can at least guarantee that they're farmable and you will have them before the event. So for example, we got Mar here. he's essentially just a glass cannon AoE damage. He's just a big damage character for you for the orc faction. Like, to give you an example, he's very similar to Sonori in the sense that he has a move here where he buffs himself and then gives himself turn meter, and then goes after that. So in this case, it's a rage where he gains increased damage, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and then boosts his turn meter, and then you can hit people with this AoE whirlwind where it's going to do 220%. It's a solid amount of damage, but when you've given yourself increased crit damage, increased damage, it's going to hit like an absolute truck. So very cool. And then if he's going to be very squishy, but if he takes damage, he's going to get stronger, because when he gets stronger for each percentage of missing health. And then he has a weirdly high variance in the damage here. That's not normal at all, but 300% potentially is a very strong A1. That's Mar. And then we got Mortha here is going to just be like kind of a middle of the road healer. Important that you level her, in my opinion, because she's like the only healer you get for clans for a while on the clan side. So she has this healing ability here where it's like chain healing. It reminds me of shamans. She even like looks like a shaman, but it reminds me of shamans from WoW, where it has this like chain heal thing where it heals target ally by 400% and then chains to 2 allies with the lowest heal first ally, and then 300% in the second ally by 200%. So it's like 400, 300, 200 as it goes through the chain. And then her A1 here is just very standard, deals damage, and then a 50% chance to deal shield piercing damage. So, it's kind of a bummer. It's a coin flip, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then she has her A3, which is a shield plus it does damage, which is pretty cool. And then lastly, she has increases magic damage by 10% for each living orc. So pretty good synergy there. So it definitely incentivizes you to run multiple orcs, which you definitely will be doing early game, in my opinion, for the clan side. And then to round out their list, we got Rantha here. Cool thing about her is she has 2 farms. The unique thing about her is her A2 is she summons a bear, and then the bear acts as a tank. And then like I was saying earlier, she's the one with the good leadership ability for the clan faction, which is so not only for the orc side, but then for just clans in general, which is both the physical damage and magic damage of all allies from the clans increased by 25%. All allied orcs gain 5% lifesteal for each living orc in the party. The crit damage for all allied goblins increases by 10% for each living orc or each living goblin in the party. The tenacity of all allies from the pride increased by 5%. And each living pride character in the party. So applies to not only clans, not only goblins, but and pride. So it covers sub factions and the whole entirety of like the clan faction too. So pretty cool that she's covering all those bases. And she has an AoE here. And then this move here, she's gaining more survivability if Battlepoo is alive. Rantha's physical and magic armor is increased by 30%. So kind of nice. I'm finding Battlepoo to die almost instantly, so it's kind of annoying, but I think she's going to get better as I put more ability mats into her kit. But I don't think she's a super amazing character, but I think she's a very solid one. Stromgar, Mortha, Rantha, and then Korgrim, he's essentially magic, like caster for the orcs. His passive here is increases potency of 30% and an additional 5% for each living orc in the party. A very solid character, deals damage, has a stun on his A2 here, which is pretty cool. It deals 190% of the magic damage to all enemies and a 50% chance to stun for 1 turn. So it's going to slowly progress, but having a stun chance on an A2 like that's awesome. It does big damage on the A3, where it does more damage if the target is stunned or burned. So a good combo with the A2 and the A3. And then, another good combo with Trogmar. So Trogmar stuns someone, and then he can just nuke them for a ton of damage. So that's really cool. And then lastly, he inflicts burning on his A1, which is unique and pretty solid, especially on an A1 like that. Those are going to be the characters I would definitely focus on when you're starting to play Dragon Champions. It's definitely going to set you up for success in the long run. You're going to get good characters that are not only good in arena, but then they're going to set you up for legendary characters, set you up for being good compositions for actually clearing the campaign. I've been having success with that so far, just reading the kits, having experience in games of this style. I think I have a good take on this. That's going to do it for me in this video. If you like Dragon Champions content like this, it's kind of cool trying something new. It's pretty surreal seeing my own, like the first promo code. Like I never, it's weird to unironically say that I have oh yeah, just use a promo code Kyra Mobile. I don't know. I think that's kind of sweet. So all right guys. Well, that's gonna do it for me. Peace.